Module M04, Sophisticated Discourse Management and Cohesion. Welcome everyone to this intensive grammar explainer. Since you're already communicating at a strong C1 level, you clearly know your way around the English language. But today, we're stepping up to absolute C2 mastery. We are going to refine exactly how you structure complex arguments.
Let's jump right in with a striking corporate statement. Listen to this. Be that as it may, the committee's findings, notwithstanding their initial scope, point to a systemic failure. Did you catch how elegantly those concessive clauses steer the argument? They handle an adversarial tone with absolute diplomatic precision. It's highly authoritative, but there's no blunt disagreement. And honestly, that is the superpower of high-register discourse markers.
Section 1. The Power of Cohesion.
So what's actually happening under the hood here? According to Quirk's Comprehensive Grammar of the English Language, sophisticated discourse management is a highly specific skill. It's all about using formulaic concessive clauses and implicit reference chains to manage your tone. And here's the absolute kicker. You do this without relying on basic conjunctions. We're moving entirely beyond simple words like but or and. Instead, you're building a rock-solid narrative through advanced syntax.
Section 2. Structures in action.
Let's see this play out in 3 real-world professional scenarios. First up, an academic context. Granted that the data was inconclusive, it follows that subsequent trials must rely on implicit reference chains. See that? Granted that beautifully concedes a limitation while keeping you totally in command of the facts. Then it follows that locks in an undeniable logical progression. It's precise, it's formal, and it's incredibly persuasive.
Now let's picture a high-stakes corporate boardroom. The quarterly losses are severe. Be that as it may, we must pivot. And by the same token, freeze bonuses. Notice how that formulaic concession diplomatically diffuses an adversarial reality? And by the same token, effortlessly links those tough actions together. It literally projects a tone of resolute, unshaken leadership.
Finally, imagine you're speaking in a live panel debate, a sophisticated conversational context. Turning to the opposition's claim, for all that they promise, the policy remains functionally unviable. Turning to lets you pivot gracefully, right? Then, for all that, elegantly acknowledges the opponent's promises before setting up a definitive, crushing critique. It keeps your audience completely captivated.
Section 3. Common cohesion errors.
Okay, let's do a little diagnostic troubleshooting. Because even at the C2 level, learners fall into certain traps. Look at this clunky text on the left. Furthermore, it failed. Moreover, costs rose. Ouch! That is the classic overuse of explicit connectors. Now, look at the structurally superior version on the right. The policy failed. This systemic collapse drove costs higher. Instead of generic, robotic words like moreover, we use an elegant implicit lexical chain. This systemic collapse points right back to the previous idea. It feels organic, it's incredibly sophisticated, and it flows beautifully.
Section 4. Register and Tone Awareness.
Now, understanding the syntax is really only half the battle. You have to know exactly when to unleash these tools. Context is literally everything here. These structures deliver maximum impact in boardroom debates, formal responses, or highly polished opinion columns. But please avoid them in your casual emails or during collaborative brainstorming with your team. If you drop a high-register concession in a quick chat, you run a massive risk. You might sound overly adversarial, slightly archaic, or honestly just pompous. Always perfectly match your syntax to the room.
Section 5. Mastering the narrative.
Let's distill all of this into one highly actionable rule, based directly on Cambridge English CPE standards. C2 mastery does not rely on adding more explicit linking words. Actually, scratch that. It's almost the exact opposite. It relies entirely on managing tone through strategic concession and implicit reference. Take a second and really let that advice sink in. Your goal isn't to clutter your sentences with connectors. Your goal is to guide your listeners' understanding completely and visibly.
And that brings us to the end of Module M04. Be that as it may, sophisticated discourse management and cohesion. Remember our golden rule today. True cohesion is implicit.
Your very next step is to tackle the interactive module quiz. But before you go, I want to leave you with a question. Are your words merely connecting sentences? Or are they actively controlling the room? Thanks so much for joining me in this explainer.